So today's topic is valency bond theory. So let us see what are the postulates of valency bond theory in complex compounds. So in a valency bond theory, the first postulate is the central metal first loses required number of electrons to form the ion and the necessary number of vacant orbitals are created. Just first try to just understand the postulates. While doing the examples, you will finally know what are the postulates. You can understand the postulates. So whenever a complex is given, the first point is we have to calculate the oxidation number and you have to write the electronic configuration. After writing the electronic configuration, so this is the first point. The central metal will first lose required number of electrons to form the ion and necessary number of vacant orbitals are created. The ligands here, the metal is called as a Lewis acid, whereas the ligands they are called as Lewis bases. So acids means they are nothing but they will accept electrons, and bases means Lewis bases means they will donate electrons. So here the metal acts as Lewis acid and the ligands will act as Lewis bases. So as the ligands are giving electrons to the metal should make some available space. So that is why some necessary number of vacant orbitals are created. So that is the first point. Next point is the number of electrons lost is numerically equal to oxidation state. So if it is losing 2 electrons, then the metal will acquire plus 2 charge. 3 electrons plus 3 charge. 4 electrons plus 4 charge. Next, the vacant orbitals of the metal ion undergo suitable hybridization so that the desired shape is obtained by the complex. So the hybridizations is nothing but we have hybridizations like one s orbital and one p orbital will form sp, and one this and one s orbital and two p orbitals will form sp2. But in these complex compounds, the important hybridizations are one is sp3 and another one is dsp2, and then we have sp3d and sp3d2 and d2sp3. So these are the different possible hybridizations. So whenever the hybridization is sp3, then the shape is tetrahedral, and whenever the shape the hybridization is dsp2, it is a square planar, and sp3d it is trigonal bipyramidal. Pyramidal, and both of these will have a shape of octahedral. So this is the fourth point. And such complexes are called inner orbital or low spin or spin paired or strong field or covalent complexes. Okay, this, so whenever d2sp3 are coming hybridization, then they are called as what? Inner orbital, low spin, spin paired or strong field or covalent complexes. And if you are getting sp3d2 hybridization, then they are called as high spin or spin free, weak field or ionic complexes. This fourth point and fifth point can be understood while doing any example. Like sixth point is in the formation of some complexes, the electrons in the metal orbital may undergo pairing against to Hundsen. This point is very important. This point itself plays a very important role in forming sp3d2 and d2sp3. So in some cases, the pairing will take place against to Hundsen, and which cases is means we will see while doing one example. Next, completely filled orbitals of ligands overlap the vacant metal orbital to form strong coordinates, covalent bonds to the extent possible. So, coordinate, a strong covalent bond is formed between metal and ligand. This is the 7th point. The metal acquired the nearest noble gas configuration or comes to the nearest inert gas configuration. So whatever it is, finally the complex will acquire the nearest noble gas configuration or equal to the noble gas configuration. And after this, you can also find the number of unpaired electrons. So based on the number of unpaired, one more point is there. By using the number of unpaired electrons, we can calculate magnetic momentum. That is, if unpaired electrons are present, then it is paramagnetic. No unpaired electrons, then it is diamagnetic. No unpaired electrons, then it is diamagnetic. And for the paramagnetic and diamagnetic, we can also calculate magnetic momentum. That is, magnetic momentum U is equal to under root of n into n plus 2. So here n is nothing but number of unpaired electrons. So these are all the postulates of valency bond theory. Now once just go through this all these points. Next, after this, let us do some examples. And in the objectives part, the important thing is we have to understand the question, that given example, and we have to find the hybridizations, the shape and the number of unpaired electrons, whether it is low spin or high spin, etc. So for all that, we have to take the support of all these postulates. And if you don't remember the postulates also, no problem. You just follow the method what I am doing. By just seeing the examples, 2 or 3 examples, you can do all the examples based on this valency bond theory for any complexes. So let us see that examples. So the first point here, what we have to do is, first we have to calculate the oxidation number of cobalt. So if you take cobalt as X, ammonia charge is 0. So 6 ammonia is there. So this is 6 into 0 is equal to plus 3. So oxidation state is equal to plus 3. After writing the oxidation state, now write the charge present on the cobalt. So now the cobalt is having cobalt plus 3. And write the electronic configuration of cobalt plus 3. So actually cobalt is atomic number is 27. So iron is 26, cobalt is 27. So the configuration is argon. So I am writing first original cobalt. Cobalt configuration is argon 4s2. This is 20 and we have 3d7. Now plus 3 charge means we have to remove 3 electrons. So first we have to remove these 2 electrons from here, and then we have to remove 1 electron from here. So this becomes 3d6. The final configuration is it is equal to 3d6. So this is the configuration. So the first step is we have calculated the oxidation number of metal, and then we wrote the electronic configuration of the ion. So that is cobalt plus 3. This is the configuration of 3d6 of cobalt plus 3. Now see this diagram. So after writing this, in a 3D orbital, there are 5 degenerate orbitals, that is dxy, dyz, dzx, dx square minus y square and dz square. So 5 degenerate. So this is 3D. And after 3D we have 4s. And after 4s we have 4p. So p will have 2 px, py and pz 3. And next we have 4d. So this is 4d. In the third orbit we are having this 3D orbital, and this is 3D, and this is 4s, and this is 4p, and this is 4d. Now let us fill electrons in this. Now in this, the number of electrons in the 3D. So here 6 electrons are present. So this is how we write the electrons. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this is the electronic configuration which is filled for 3d6. Now remember one point: whenever there is ligands present with carbon and nitrogen. So the metal is attached with carbon or nitrogen. In these cases, uh, pairing takes place. So remember this point. Whenever carbon and nitrogen are present in the ligands and they are attached to the metal, then pairing takes place against Hund's rule. And whenever there is oxygen and halogens, so halogens means fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. In this case, it follows Hund's rule. So no pairing. So carbon nitrogen is pairing, oxygen and halogen is no pairing. No pairing. Now here we are having nitrogen. So when nitrogen is present, pairing takes place against Hund's rule. Now this configuration will be changed. So this is a configuration, and now again I am writing the same 5 degenerate orbitals of 3d. This is 3d, 4s, 4p, and this is 4d. Whether you use or no, you just write 4d also. Sometimes you may use this 4d or not. Now in this I am filling the electrons. So what I said, whenever there is nitrogen, pairing takes place against Hund's rule. So total how many electrons are there? 6 electrons. Fill the 6 electrons in this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is against Hund's rule. So this will happen in the according to this valency bond theory. And now the number of ligands are 6. So the total number of ligands, they are equal to 6. So these 6 ligands will occupy, so in this position. So this is one ligand, this is the second ligand, and this is the third ligand, 4, 5, and this is 6. Now these are all the vacant orbitals which is created by hybridization, and here it is nothing but D2, 1s, and p is 3. So this is a hybridization, that is D2sp3 forming for this complex. So if this complex is given and if they ask to calculate the hybridization, means you have to do all these steps. First you have to calculate oxidation number, and then you have to calculate the write the electronic configuration, then see the ligand whether it is having carbon and nitrogen, then pairing against Hund's rule, and if the ligand is oxygen or halogens, then no pairing, means it is following Hund's rule. So this is nitrogen, so it is not following Hund's rule. The electrons are paired against Hund's rule. After pairing, 6 ammonia are there. So 6 available vacant orbitals will be created by this metal. So these are all the 6 available vacant orbitals. So by this, the hybridization is forming is D2sp3. Now here you can see whenever D2sp3 is there, this is called as inner orbital complex. So this is an inner orbital complex. And next, the number of unpaired electrons. Unpaired electrons are equal to 0. So here n is nothing but 0. So whenever there are no unpaired electrons, this is said to be a diamagnetic substance. So this is diamagnetic. This complex is said to be diamagnetic. And its magnetic momentum is under root of n into n plus 2. So its magnetic momentum is mu is equal to under root of n into n plus 2. And here n value is 0, so the magnetic momentum also will be equal to 0. And whenever the magnetic momentum is 0, then this is called as low spin complex. So in the objectives, he may ask any of this part. He may ask whether the complex is low spin, or he may ask how many unpaired electrons are there, or he may ask what is the magnetic property or magnetic momentum, or whether it is inner orbital complex or outer orbital complex, or hybridization. So these are all the important points in the objectives he may ask. He may ask either hybridization, or he may ask this inner orbital complex. He may ask whether it is having unpaired electrons or not, and based on this you can know diamagnetic or paramagnetic and magnetic momentum and low spin complexes. So these are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these 6 points are very important. So any of this part may be asked in the objectives. So this is about the first complex. Now let us see the second complex. The second complex is also cobalt. So it is COF6. COF6 3 minus. So this is the next complex. Now in this next complex, in this also the first point is you have to calculate oxidation state. So now I am finding oxidation state of cobalt. So cobalt you have to take it as X and the 6 fluoride ions. So it is minus 6 equal to minus 3, and this will be equal to plus 3. So this is also same configuration of the first example. So oxidation state is plus 3. So this is cobalt plus 3. I am writing the direct configuration. So you will be getting 3D, 3D6. 3 electrons are lost. So it is 3D6. So up till it is okay. And this is the configuration which we are writing for the 3D6. Now let us write, so this above one is actual configuration, and this below one is the configuration based on complex, based on ligands. Now see here, whenever oxygen or halogens are there, no pairing. So the same configuration is been written here. So you can write the same configuration. There is no change. So how many electrons are there? The same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are following Hund's law. Now after filling these 6 electrons, here the number of ligands are 6. Now we have to fill 6 ligands. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now see this configuration. So here the configuration which is forming here is 1 s orbital and 3 p orbitals and 2 d orbitals. So it is sp3d2. So sp3d2 means the shape is octahedral, and even before example is also octahedral only. Why means d2sp3 is also octahedral itself. So it is sp3d2 octahedral. Now after knowing the octahedral, you can tell whether this is inner orbital complex or outer orbital complex. So in this sp3, whenever it is starting with sp3, this is called as outer orbital complex. So this is an outer orbital complex. Next, after our outer orbital complex, now let us find the number of unpaired electrons. So here number of unpaired electrons is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 unpaired electrons are there. Now whenever unpaired electrons are, this is said to be paramagnetic. So this complex is paramagnetic. Now you can calculate magnetic momentum. I am directly calculating magnetic momentum, that is mu is equal to under root of n into n plus 2. So it is 4 into 4 plus 2. So this is 4 plus 2 is 6, 24, under root of 24. So it is nearly equal to 4.9. 4.9 Bohr's magneton. Why it is 4.9 means? So nearly 25. Root 25 is 5. So 24 means less than 5. So I am taking this as approximately 4.9. So this is a magnetic momentum. And whenever there are unpaired electrons 4, then this is said to be a high spin complex. So these are all the important points which may be asked by giving this complex. So if this complex is given, first point is you have to calculate oxidation state and then write the electronic configuration of ion. After writing the electronic configuration, just fill up this. Now after filling this, now see the ligand, whether it is having carbon and nitrogen or oxygen or halogen. So halogen is there, fluorine. So no pairing. So we are writing the configuration as it is. Now the necessary orbitals are created so that 6 fluoride ions should occupy here. So that is why 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are all forming a hybridization of sp3d2. So it is octahedral. So sp3d2 is outer orbital and d2sp3 is inner orbital. Unpaired electrons are there, paramagnetic. This is how we calculate magnetic momentum, and this is a high spin complex. That's all. So this is an example for octahedral complex. Now let us take the third example, which is an example for it may be it is having, see here, it is having 4 ligands. So 4 ligands means it may be sp3 or it may be dsp2. So we have to check whether it is sp3 or dsp2. Let us see third example. So these two examples are completed. Now let us see example 3. So it is Ni Cn taken 4 and it is 2 minus. So the rules are same. First calculate the oxidation state of nickel. So nickel is you have to calculate. Cyanide charge is minus. So 4 cyanides are there, minus 4 is equated to minus 2 and we get this as plus 2. So nickel is having plus 2 oxidation state. So I am directly writing the configuration. This will have a 3D 2 iron cobalt nickel 28. So 3D, this is 3D8. Actually, it is argon 4s2 3D8. 2 electrons are lost, so it is 3D8. Again, the same thing. So I am writing the vacant d orbitals. Sorry, 3D. This is 3D and 4s, 4p, and then we have 4d. So this is 3d, 4s, 4p, and this is 4d. Now let us fill the electrons in this. So here are 8 electrons. So first fill according to Hund's rule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 electrons are filled. Now see here, cyanide is there. So whenever cyanide is there, the pairing takes place against to Hund's rule. Carbon and here nitrogen is there. So it is a pairing against to Hund's rule. Now I am writing the same 3D and 4s, 4p, and then 4d. So this is 4d. Now we have to pair the electrons against to Hund's. So total 8 electrons are there. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is pairing against Hooke's law. Now see the number of ligands. So four ligands are there. So these four ligands will occupy in this 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what is the hybridization it is forming means 1D, 1S, and 2P. So it is DsP2. So DsP2 means this is having a shape of square planar. So it is a square planar. And the same points, the number of unpaired electrons is 0. So unpaired electrons are 0, then this is diamagnetic. And whenever there is a DsP2, this is called as inner orbital complex. So this is an inner orbital complex. And next, magnetic momentum will be equal to 0. Unpaired electron 0, under root of n into n plus 2 also will be equal to 0. And this is unpaired electrons are 0, so this is called as low spin complex. So if you understand these two before these first two examples, you can do the remaining examples. But the number of ligands you have to see. So this is a low spin complex. That's all. Now let us see one more example. It is NiCl4. So here it is NiCl4. And charge is 2 minus. NiCl4 2 minus. And here also oxidation state is same. Up till it is same. Now here it will change. So this will change. Up to the configuration of this 3D8 is also same. All these points will change. Now see this. So halogens are there. Whenever there are halogens, so there is no pairing against to Hund's rule. So here we have to strictly follow Hund's rule whenever there is halogens or whenever there is oxygen. Now see this. So no pairing. So write as it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now ligands, four ligands are there. These are the positions occupied by the ligand. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So the hybridization which is forming here is sp3. So sp3 means the shape is tetrahedral. So the shape is tetrahedral, and now you can see the number of unpaired electrons. Unpaired electrons are 2. So when unpaired electrons are 2, then it is said to, sorry, it is unpaired electrons are 2, then it is said to be paramagnetic. So it is paramagnetic. And magnetic momentum mu is equal to under root of n into n plus 2, which is equal to under root of 2 into 2 plus 2. So if you calculate, this is 4, 4 into 2, root 8. Root 8 is nearly equal to 2.9 Bohr's magneton. And unpaired electrons is 2, so this is called as low spin complex. This is a low spin complex. Generally, unpaired electron 0, 1, 2 means it is low. and unpaired electrons 3, 4, 5 means it is high. So this is about for examples for valency bond theory, and in some cases, remember the configuration. Whenever the configuration is 3D3, 3D3 or 3D4, in these cases, whether it is having cyanide, carbon, nitrogen, or oxygen or halogen, whatever it is, here no pairing takes place. No pairing takes place. You can refer any book in any material. You can see some examples with chromium. So this 3D3 configuration you will be getting mostly with chromium. I think it is chromium plus 3. So whenever you see this configuration 3D3, don't follow this pairing. Whether it is carbon, nitrogen, oxygen or halogen, you just do the method same like no pairing. So whatever the fourth example we have done, 3 electrons means just 1, 2, 3. That's all. Though it is having cyanides or nitrogens or ammonia, but also you have to do the same way like oxygen and this halogen, how you are doing. In the same way you have to do for this 3D3 configuration also. So if you see some examples, you will understand. So this is all about valency bond theory. And in this theory, he did not explain why we are pairing in some examples, and in some examples we are not pairing. So for the extension of this, we have one more theory which is called as the crystal field splitting theory, CFT, so which we will discuss in the next class. So crystal field splitting theory. So why the here pairing is taking place in some examples, and in some examples there is no pairing. So why this is happening? So to explain this, we have to go for the next theory that is called as crystal field theory. So this is the next theory. We will discuss in the next class. So that's all for the day. Thank you.